For some 3 hours on Tuesday, 28th February 2023, the banquet hall of the National Center for Women Development, Abuja, was the center stage for women affairs. The venue was apt as it hosted the pre-departure briefing of the Nigerian delegation to the 67th session of the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women (CSW), scheduled to hold in New York from the 6th to 17th March 2023. The CSW convenes annually for a 2-week session to discuss progress and gaps in the implementation of the 1995 Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, the key global policy document on gender equality, and the 23rd special session of the General Assembly held in 2000, Beijing +5, as well as emerging issues that affect gender equality and the empowerment of women. Member states agree on further actions to accelerate progress and promote women's enjoyment of their rights in political, economic, and social fields. The Nigerian delegation to the 2023 session, numbering 100, and other key stakeholders assembled in the hall to deliberate on the country's agenda for the CSW, with young Nigerian girls and women taking their turns to make meaningful contributions to the discussions around critical issues that directly impact and connect with them. The event, which was well attended both physically and virtually, drew participants from several key ministries, departments, and agencies at national, state, and local levels, as well as from numerous NGOs and other stakeholders.
Sing a song for women everywhere.
After a rendition of the women's anthem, a welcome address was delivered by Mrs. Funke Oladipo, Director, Women Development, on behalf of the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Alhaji Shehu Aliyu Shinkafi, FCNA.
It is my honor and privilege on behalf of the Permanent Secretary, Alhaji Shehu Shinkafi Aliyu, welcome you all this morning to this meeting towards Nigeria's effective participation at the forthcoming 67th session of the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women.
Delegates were briefed on the CSW Session Code of Conduct and the outcome of the December 2022 virtual meeting hosted in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, where a common Africa position was adopted for the CSW by ministers responsible for gender and women's affairs.
The African Union ministers responsible for gender and women affairs met in a virtual consultative meeting on 1st December 2022 in preparation for the 67th session of the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women. All the member states are therefore enjoined to work around this main theme.
They were also given valuable information on travel and accommodation arrangements.
I just want to advise that you travel light, but make sure you are code compliant so that you'll be able to cope with the weather there.
The keynote address by the Honorable Minister of the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline K. Tallon, OFR KSG, was delivered by her representative, Director, Economic Services Department, Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Mr. Idris Mohammed.
It is my honor and privilege to be in your midst on this occasion of national stakeholders, preparatory and pre-delegate departure meetings towards Nigeria's effective participation at the forthcoming 7th session of the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women. Every year, representatives of member states gather at United Nations headquarters in New York to evaluate progress on gender equality, identify challenges, set global standards, and formulate concrete policies to promote gender equality and women's empowerment worldwide. As a ministry, we have the responsibility to facilitate the preparation for and in ensuring successful outcome of this year's 67th session.
A question and answer session and general discussion then followed.
The other question is, how girls will have access to finance. Well, access to finance in your training curriculum, you have entrepreneurship built into your school curriculum. This entrepreneurship skill tells you so much about business opportunities, how to establish your business, how to run with them, and besides, how to raise your capital.
By the end, delegates and stakeholders were left better prepared for the 67th session of the CSW. And we're very excited by the national position taken to represent Nigeria in New York.
This is an improvement, I must say, and I commend the ministry.
I'm really happy for what happened here today, the way they want to involve girls and women in things happening around the world, especially in technology and development in education.